Hi everyone, delonewolf here, and welcome to a first look at a Factorio. So this is a game that I bought on Steam. With basically finishing the Witchwood in Hearthstone, I found myself with a little bit more time, and so I was looking for something a little bit different to try out. I could have gone back to Banished for some relaxing gameplay, but I thought why not try something else, and I really saw some very nice reviews about Factorio, which, I mean, the looks of it, I think you can see some of the similarities between Factorio and Banished, except that the complexity here, of course, is on a completely different scale. So I'm going to play the game a little bit. I'm going to continue exploring it, but I also want to give you guys that first look at my early experience with Factorio, which eventually led me to this sandboxy game that you're seeing here, where I've been experimenting a little bit, trying to get some research to work and just explore the possibilities of the game and the different types of setups that you can do. Because the very first thing that I did was play the tutorial and start a campaign. It was doable until mission 3 of the campaign. That is where, crazily enough, you start with a pretty massive setup with lots of like electric miners and lots of these furnaces, all set up in an efficient setup, which when I was just jumping into it as my very first experience, I didn't get it. The complexity was already beyond what I had learned about the game. So as a result, I decided, you know what, we're just going to take our time a little bit and we're going to explore the game a little bit with a sandbox game where I can take my time, try out different setups and do some research to explore what's available when you go further into the campaign. And that's this game. It's actually called Test 01 for Factorio. And so far, it's been a lot of fun, and I've definitely learned a lot here. So for your very first experience, I would almost recommend to maybe first look at least a couple of videos. So you learn stuff like the splitter, you learn about the inserters, some of the power things, because I, for instance, was creating one of these offshore pumps for every single boiler, which is a big mistake, for instance. And so, yeah, maybe a little bit of some videos can be helpful, and then, of course, just, you know, get started, do whatever you want, because this is obviously quite a sandboxy game. When I first played it, you know, I gave it a try, and as I've said, I started a little bit of a campaign, then decided maybe I should explore it a little bit in a sandboxy game. All of a sudden, it was midnight. I hadn't even noticed how much time I had been spending just starting an early build-up on this map, which I thought was really nice, with the coal here, the iron ore here, and then the copper over here. Yeah, it was midnight, so I said, all right, that's definitely a sign that it's a fun game and a very addictive game. I went to bed and I just couldn't get the game out of my mind, and so I kept thinking about like an all-in-one belt. Would something like that work? So instead of having all of these different belts that you're seeing here, so you've got like a belt that is for coal, then a belt that is for iron, all of that then moves to another belt where we are combining some copper as well, and then you have different belts into the different processing units, which then at this point focus a lot on the research. And I thought maybe we should make one massive belt that goes in a big circle and put stuff around there. Those were my thoughts, and you know, it was actually so bad that half an hour later I just got up and gave it a try in the game, and then so my very first experience was like up until 3 in the morning or something like that, when I found out that the master belt is not such a great idea. And then I've been, you know, trying different things here. What I personally like is that you can then get some solar panels. Don't give that much energy, but you can basically get rid of the need for water, which, well, does make everything a little bit more messy, in my opinion. You are dependent on some water, at least somewhat close to your early game start. So in fact, it did take quite a little bit of manual work to create all of these tubes, which is a bad idea because you can actually use these underground pipes as well. But, you know, I found that out when I just tested them out for the first time. And then you've got a little bit of an energy creation setup here, which is also far from optimal. As I've said, I'm exploring the game at this point, but it is definitely a lot of fun. Inevitably, at some point, you're going to run into some potential problems and some things that you don't understand, but there are a ton of YouTube videos out there already, and you will inevitably then stumble on some of the like best possible setups with when it comes to the extraction, the processing, and all of that stuff. So that is not what I'm personally hunting for. I've also seen some amazing bases that have been built by people. So that I've spent like 6 months working on a base. That's obviously not what this is about. For me, this is about, you know, trying to do my own thing, explore the game a little bit, and see how far I can get without copying stuff from other players right away. One little bug that I constantly see is when I move, the coal deposits seem to like blink like that. That's a little bit strange. And then down here, you also need stone for some stuff. So I actually have a very small isolated solar powered stone extraction site that then gets transported all the way back to my base where, well, we can decide to do whatever we want with it. We're actually putting all of this in these chests here. I think the game is very, very interesting. It is not as relaxed or lazy, you could say, as Banished, but it has that same vibe. There is really no need, especially in a sandboxy game like this, where I put the enemies that they don't attack unless I start the attack. So here you can definitely take your time and just relax a little bit. So let's maybe take some more of that stone and see if we can add it here into my... Yeah, we definitely can. So that gets stone and coal gets transported in a steel furnace, and then down here it's actually stone bricks that get deposited there. And I'm keeping this chest here just so that I can have a reserve of stone, because sometimes you need that as well. And in the meantime, my research is done, so that is something that I've been exploring a bit as well. And I actually find interesting, what I would like to have is a substation. So I'm hoping that substation, then I need that science pack 3, which I don't really know how to get just yet. Is there anything? No. So yeah, it's all really interesting, quite complex. Maybe I'll take this, it's only 50-50. Let's start that research. All of these are doing their thing. And here we have extra science that's being built. That one is doing okay. That one is definitely doing okay as well. Here we can add some greens. Definitely add some greens here. And then here we're making reds, and that's looking all right. Get more reds here as well. And we can just keep adding that here. So we'll very easily get to that 50-50 for flammables in this case. And that's really what I've been doing here. Just set up some really inefficient, but at least functional resource creation sites, and just explore the research trees, the different options of what you can then make as you do more research. And I'm not too worried about scale, efficiency, or any of that good stuff. All of that comes later. But that's something I definitely wanted to share with you guys. The game Factorio looks like an absolutely amazing game that will cost some time, though. It will take some learning to actually master all of the different aspects of this game, and it will take, I think, a decent amount of time to work your way up to like maybe through the campaign to a base that you're happy with, maybe to a base with, like, I think getting to space is your final goal or something like that. I can tell you that it's going to take a lot longer than trying to get through a Banished game or something like that, because I've been playing this specific base for quite a few hours already, and as you can see, I'm still only at the tier 2 research, which goes up to is it here that we can see that? Yeah, which goes up to 7 different kinds. So that's definitely a lot more production cycles that I need to do, and I still have a lot to learn about balancing. What do I need the steel plates for? Stuff like that is all still on my to-do list, but looks great. Tiny little game. And I think I'm very easily going to get a lot of hours out of it. And yeah, as I make progress, as always, I will keep you guys up to date as well. For now, that was a quick first look at Factorio. Thank you very much for watching, guys. And I'll see you all next time.